So when is the election? In May?
I believe so. Yeah, I have to go back and look because they changed the dates. You know.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we're moving yours. Okay.
Yeah, I think the mayor had spoken with the
Yeah, I remember
homeowner, and
that.
yeah, they asked to get a few more things out.
10A.
Yeah, $250 radio.
Yeah. Wherever the town of Evergreen is.
Yeah.
Maybe additional. Yeah. Yes, sir. I think you'll realize it when you step out to see.
You're all right.
Ding.
Yeah. Mr. Lofton. Mr. Lofton.
Hello there.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do the pledge if you could. If you can, I mean, if nobody else wants to do shit.
You did the prayer last time.
Yeah, let True.
Come on, let's do it.
I don't mind.
I told her I don't mind.
Sulphur City Council meeting for January 12th is now called to order. Happy New Year, everyone. We're glad you're here. Ms. Ellender, would you please lead us in prayer, and Ms. Thomas in the pledge. Please stand and please turn off all cell phones.
Lord, thank you for this day, for this year, for this city. I ask today, Lord, that you speak to us as we do the business of the city. Help it to be done with grace and with truth. And I ask, Lord, today that each person represented here, you will go with them as they leave this meeting when it's over and keep them safe. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies. Roll call.
Ms. Ellender?
Here.
Mr. Nazat?
Here.
Ms. Hardy?
Here.
Ms. Abchar?
Here.
Ms. Thomas?
Here.
I need approval of the minutes, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar? Ms.
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, approval of the agenda tonight.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
A motion, a second, and then we need review of item number 2B to be removed. We need a motion.
I'd like a motion, we remove item 2B to condemn building on structure located at 916 South Irwin in accordance to Article 9, Section 5286 through 5296 of the Code of Ordinances.
We need a second.
Second.
We have a second. Roll call?
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar? Ms.
Yes?
Thomas?
Yes.
I'd like a motion, we remove item 10A. which
Add.
says-
And
I'm sorry, add 10A, which says, introduction of ordinance authorizing Mayor Dana Hay to enter into an act of donation with the town of Evergreen Police Department for the purpose of donating a Motorola mobile radio. Ordinance 526.
we have a motion. I need a second, please.
So moved. Second.
And we have a second. Roll call?
Will you give public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. Does anyone from the public like to address if this is an addition, not an existing item, it's an addition to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, roll call?
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar? Ms.
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
And I'd like to move
That's it.
that we accept the agenda as amended.
I need a second, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, roll call?
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so for tonight's agenda, we have several people that has submitted request to speak forms, and we're going to tend to handle each one. When I call out your name, you will have to come to the podium and announce who you are, speak your name and your address. If you are wanting to yield your time to someone, you can do that, but you will also go to the podium and speak that request, and that you yield time. We will do that for each item agenda. So, with that being said, item number 1, presentation of audit for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and resolution accepting same, 101-26.
I would like to invite Mr. Steve Derwin with Derwin & Associates to come present the annual audit.
I'm Steve Derwin, the managing partner for Derwin & Associates. We performed the audit for the fiscal year June 30th, 2025 for the city of Sulphur. I'm going to go over our audit reports and some of the highlights of the financial statements, comparing some of the changes from the prior year. And at the end of the report, we'll go over the reports on the controls and compliance for general government and also for the federal funds y'all received. It's hard to hear? Okay. Is that better?
That's much
Okay.
better. Thank you.
All right. So the second page after a table of contents in your report package is our independent audit report on the city's primary government financial statements, which include the general fund, special revenue funds, water and sewer fund, and the workers' comp internal service funds. In that report, we state that we had no modifications to the financial statements, so that's what we refer to as an unmodified opinion. The next seven pages are is referred to as the management's discussion and analysis, which summarizes the other 60 pages of this financial statement package. I'm not going to go over that detail, but it's there for reference if anybody wants to look at that. And that comes from the administration. And starting on page 15 of the actual financial statements is the government-wide statements which reflects the assets and liabilities of the city. You ended the year with total assets of $197.2 million, which the main parts of that asset amounts consist of their checking accounts and investments, which were about $60 million at the end of the year. That's an increase of about $9 million over 2024. Your capital assets, which are your land, the infrastructure of your streets and water and sewer plant and various equipment and buildings, were about $131 million. That's a decrease of the prior year of about $2 million due to depreciation on those assets. You had improvements last year, various street and other improvements of about $5.3 million, and water and sewer improvements of about $2 million that were added to that capital asset. Your liabilities of the city were about $67 million at the end of the year. That's a representative operating accounts payable of about $5.8 million, which was down from the prior year of about $1.8 million. The pension liability on the 4 pension plans that the city participates in was about $24 million. That's a decrease from the prior year of about $4.4 million. And the accrued liability for health benefits was about $27.8 million, and that increased from the prior year about $6.6 million. You had bonds payable at the end of the year of about $8 million, and that decreased from the prior year due to the principal payments on the bonds of about $1.6 million. So at the end of the year, you had a net position or fund balance, if you want to refer to that, it was about $125.5 million for 2025. So the next page, on page 16, is the statement of activities, which reflects the revenues and expenses of the city. At the end of the year, you had about $52.6 million in revenues. That's a decrease from the prior year of about $10 million, primarily due to decrease in state and federal funding from 2024. The general revenues are made up of sales taxes, which were about $23 million, property taxes about $3.5 million, franchise taxes $1.6 million, and federal grant revenues of about $5 million for 2025. The expenses are broken out by the general government, basically, and public safety and streets and parks. Those totaled $30,140,000 for 2024. And for the water and sewer fund, was $12.2 million. Overall, the expenses compared to 2024 decreased about $1 million. So you had a net change in position, a positive change of $10.2 million for 2025. Any question on the financial statement activity? Okay, the other 2 reports we're required to do by the legislative auditor and the federal government are, the first one is a report that's required by the legislative auditor, which reports on the controls and compliance of the city over its various programs. And we gave an unmodified opinion on that. There were no significant or material deficiencies that were required to be disclosed in this report. And also due to the fact that you received about $5 million in federal grants, we had to do a similar report on the controls and compliance over those grant programs, and there were no modifications to that report either. Any other questions? Jennifer?
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just like to add that a good audit is a true team effort, and it requires cooperation from every city department. So I want to thank all departments for their support, with special appreciation to the accounting department, which is under the leadership of our city controller, with assistance from our staff accountant. Their hard work and attention to detail were key to the successful audit this year.
Madam Chairman, I'd just like to commend Jennifer for her hard work this year, coming back with what we call a clean audit. It takes a lot throughout the year, a lot of effort to be able to keep that pretty well straight, and so they did a magnificent job, her and her department, and taking care of our city and our finances of our city.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Thorne, to you and to your staff. Okay, let's see. So we have several items here. I know we only have several people, I'm sorry. Ms. Robertson?
Cindy Robertson, 624 West Verdine. Couple of questions. I've participated in, unfortunately, several audits. And I noticed that there seemed to be a qualification in this by the auditor saying that they were not auditing the effectiveness of internal controls. Did I read that wrong?
Ms. Thorne, would you like to,
They do have to test the effectiveness of internal controls. It's part of the legislative auditor's requirement.
For just the grants or for the entirety,
The city as a whole.
the city as a whole? When they do those, having participated in audits before, do they actually verify purchases through the vendors?
I mean, they take samples, yes.
They take samples of your records, but they don't verify it through the vendors that, so if you purchased from business A, they don't check with business A to see if that purchase was actually made.
I don't know that.
Thank you.
thank you. Ms. Walker?
She was giving her time to me. Should I go
She,
first?
I mean, she has to come up and identify herself.
So if I run out of time, can she come up then? and give me
She's
her
gonna,
time?
just letting me follow the procedure.
Just
She's,
go through all-
Ms. Walker? You'll come up and identify yourself, and if you choose to yield your time, you can speak at the podium.
My name is Valerie Walker.
Can you speak up, please, ma'am?
My name is Valerie Walker,
And your address?
2161 Sulphur, Louisiana.
2161,
Leonard Road,
okay.
In Sulphur.
And you're requesting to yield your time?
yes,
To,
Sheila Broussard.
okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Coulter?
I'm Glenda Coulter. I live at 109 South Hazel Street, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Mallard?
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pizza Road.
Can you speak up, please, ma'am?
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pizza Road. And I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
All right, thank you. Ms. Broussard?
I am, a couple of things I want to ask.
Ms. Broussard?
yes.
Before we start. So
Sheila-
You've had 3 people that have requested
Yes,
to
ma'am.
yield their time.
Yes, ma'am.
So that will be 9
12 mi-
minutes.
Plus my 3 would be 12
Please
minutes.
let
of-
me finish.
Certainly.
That'd be 9 minutes, 3 minutes from each, and then plus your 3, so that'd be a total of 12, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
So I've turned in cards for all 11, 12 items. So, but some of them I'm not going to speak on. Do these women have to come up every single time and give the, okay,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll be here for a little while. All right. So the question I have on item 1 is, first off, since the auditor's already left, so we can't get an answer. Okay. One question that Ms. Thorne, was it a question, more of a comment? He said our increase has been positive for $10.2 million for last year. So will it be necessary to raise water fees again when we have $10.2 million? Is that okay if I ask her that question, Madam Chair?
I don't know, I mean,
That is
that's fine.
determined-
Question, I don't know if she.
It's determined through the budget process. Obviously, we know that rates are going to increase because we have the mandate to do so for the water sector program. But we'll go through that exercise once we begin the budget process for the 26-27 year, which starts in about a month.
Thank you. And just so that everyone knows, because I know online sometimes people have questioned why I come up, and it's not always to, well, I'll wait till I have your attention. It's not always to make changes with you all. Most of the time, it's so that information can come out for the public. So we'll just go through this every single time for every single one. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We need a motion, please.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Roll call?
Are we done with public comment?
No, that's all I have for item one.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Harding? Ms.
Yes.
Abchar? Ms.
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Item carries. Item number 2, rules to show cause for the condition of the following addresses. A, to condemn building or structure located at 925 Grandview Street in accordance with Article 9, Section 5-286 through 5-296 of the Code of Ordinances. Ms. Ellender,
So moved. Second.
a motion and a second. Let's see here. So, all right, Mr. Ledoux?
I'm good.
Okay, come to the podium, please.
James Ledoux, 812 North Claiborne. I filled out a card, but I'm good. I know y'all removed B, and then A, I had ran into him earlier, and we talked about it because I had knew the family. So there's nothing I need to add to
Okay.
it.
All right, thank you. All right. Ms. Walker?
My name, address, and
Yes, ma'am.
my name's Valerie Walker. I live at 2161 Leonard Road in Sulphur, Louisiana, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Coulter?
Glenda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street, and I'm yielding my time to Ms. Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Mallard?
Michelle Meller, 2422 Pizza Road, Sulphur, Louisiana, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Broussard?
Sheila Broussard, so my question about the second item is
This is on A.
2A, yes ma'am, 2A,
Yes.
yes ma'am. And I marked out 2B because I know that was, that one was deleted. So if there's any discussion to be had about condemning the building, if we're called up first, then I really don't know. I'm not able to intelligently ask. The reason I put in card for every single one is, first off, because the procedure to this point hasn't been clear on how we'll be able to come up and speak. And I know that majority of the time, while I'm sitting and listening to the comments from the inspectors and from different people on a property or any item, when they come up and speak or you all have questions for them, that spurs something in my mind. It spurs another question, so I need to come up. So that's why I filled out a card for every single, yes ma'am.
Let me help you.
Yes,
I did jump the gun, and I forgot to ask the inspection department if they'd like to speak on.
Thank
Why
you.
don't you take a seat, let him speak, and then you come back.
I appreciate that. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Ledoux, I apologize to you.
The only thing I got with this property is the family has communicated to us their intentions are to work this property during our process moving forward, but I want my process to move forward to ensure this property gets cleaned.
And so is there anyone living there now?
No,
I don't
ma'am.
think so. And so you're saying that the family's wanting time to,
We've reached out to them before and they've had time. This go around, something fell through with the extended family. The owner reached out to me and I still want my process to move forward because we've been sitting on this one for a little bit.
this is not the first time for this property to come
Yes,
before
ma'am.
us.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Okay. Ms. Broussard?
Okay, so I don't have any more questions about that. So now for the rest of the meeting, the people will be able to talk that need to be interviewed by you. I will come up to speak, and then we'll be called on.
I'm going
Is
to
that
do my
correct?
best to do a good job.
I just want to be clear on what's happening because
I'm going to do my best to do a good job.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And so we'll come up every time. Thank you for your time.
Okay, did you want to speak on this item now?
No, that's enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Does the council have any questions regarding this property?
I think we got an email talking about this property, and about the process that you were going through. And in my opinion, probably better for us to go ahead and rule to show cause and see if we can't get them to at least communicate.
Any other council?
No. Is that your motion, Drew?
I already motioned it, yes.
Yeah,
We have a motion and a second.
Okay.
Roll call, please, ma'am.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar? Ms.
Yes,
Thomas?
Yes.
motion carries. Item 2B was eliminated, and we had 4 speakers wishing to request to speak on that. So those cards are be duly noted that this item was, agenda item was deleted. Okay, so item number 3. Public hearing on ordinance granting exception to Lake Cox Properties LLC, 424 Louisiana Avenue, to allow for an accessory structure to be put on lot without a primary structure while home is being built. Ordinance 01-26, Ms. Hardy.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Would you like to come up? You're the Doucette's, right?
Hi, I'm Gary Doucette. I live at 210 East Brimstone. We're the people that are having the house built on Louisiana through the Restore Home process. And the building is going to be a storage for, it's a 12 by 24. It's going to be storage for everything that's in our house when we move it in there. And then it's going to be turned into a woodworking shop after the house is built. And I'm just here to answer questions if you have any questions.
Okay, so while this is getting built, are you moving out of Brimstone and you're moving somewhere else?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it furnished? Is that why you have to move everything into this accessory building, or is it the materials for the building?
You lost me. Is what furnished?
So it's Restore Louisiana, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm kind of familiar with Restore
Okay.
Louisiana. So they come in and they're gonna build your house on that site, on,
The Cox company will.
yes.
Yeah.
But you're asking for an accessory building to store what?
Everything that we have packed from our house. Beds, furniture.
And I think whenever, you went to the land use, I was not at the land use, but I got some report. Did you look at the restrictions of the neighborhood before you asked for this accessory? I know, I think at the thing you said you looked at the restrictions and they were aware. Were you the one representing, at the land use meeting? Were you there for that, or did you have a builder there?
No, it was just us. You talking about the first meeting?
Right.
Yes.
I know the city doesn't get involved in the restrictions, but I looked into that to see, and they don't want accessory buildings. They want them to conform to what the neighborhood is, but, I just wondered why you had to have an accessory building. I know most people rent a place. Restore Louisiana lets them rent a place
They require you to move out by a certain period of time before you get your money. We're moving in with some friends,
Okay.
and all of our stuff is gonna be put in there. And this building is, we looked through the neighborhood, and it's an elite building. It's not secondhand. We just had it built. It's brand new. It's not real bulky and big. It's a 12 by 24, and it's only about 8 foot high. It's not real tall. Insulated and
You
electric.
wouldn't have a picture of it, would you?
I think she does. And there's a couple neighbors that have a little bit older, a little bit different buildings than what we're fixing.
So is
to
it
put.
ready to be moved now, the building, you said? Is it
Yes, ma'am, it's
complete?
ready to deliver right now. As soon as we can get our stuff out, then we're going to Baton Rouge and pick up the check and get started building the home by the 1st of February.
I see land use approved it up to, for a year, so how long do you anticipate this will take before you actually?
The builder said 6 months because this is a custom home. They're going to work directly on it. It's not a spec house.
I gotta go through my email to find it. Okay, let me see if I have any other questions.
So hypothetically speaking, let's say the house is built first, and I guess it's more to administration, the question. If the house was built first, would they then have permission or be approved to build an accessory zone?
Yes.
So it's kind of putting the cart before the horse in a way, because you're requesting this accessory zone on your property prior to building the home. But is that I know we don't govern neighborhood restrictions, but is that against the neighborhood? I haven't heard from anybody in the neighborhood or anywhere, opposition or for. Okay.
We had both hearings signed and posted.
But are you
also.
aware of the neighborhood restrictions?
No, ma'am. The builders are the ones that has the property. They own it, and he told us there weren't any restrictions in there.
Okay. I don't have any more questions, Ms. Joy.
Okay. You have anything else, Mr. Just?
No.
Mr. Baden?
Joshua Baden, 630 Alabama Street. Welcome to our neighborhood. I seen your sign posted, and I looked into it. I'm in 100% in agreement. I'm okay with him putting a building there. I don't think it's going to be a problem as long as he's planning on building a house there. I mean, if y'all want to put something in there and stipulate that if he don't have the house built within a year, I mean, I can understand that it would become a problem to have just a building on an empty lot. But I mean, in our subdivision, it's so old and aged over the years that I don't even think they go by the bylaws of the restrictions in the neighborhood any longer, because I see multiple portable buildings in backyards. As long as you keep it up, I think it's going to be an asset to the community. Thanks.
Ms. Coulter?
Linda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Walker?
My name is Valerie Walker. I live at 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
I can't hear her.
No, we can't hear you guys speak up.
My name is Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Ms. Miller?
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pizza Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you. Ms. Broussard?
After hearing all the comments, I have no more comments to add. Thank you for your time. Sheila Broussard.
Is that all that's going to speak on it?
Yes, that's all that I have.
I just wanted to make you aware, or maybe you should talk to me after this meeting about the restrictions, because El Contrario, what people believe is if something is broken in the restrictions in a neighborhood, the people in the neighborhood can come back and oppose what you're doing, because it's extended automatically in the restrictions that are recorded at the courthouse. I just don't want any issue to come up. We can say, yes, you can put the building there. You know, we can vote on it to go there. But there are people who can, that live in the neighborhood, come and oppose it. I'm just letting you know, because they said there were no restrictions, and there are. And I'll give you these when we're through.
So I want to say too, there is a restriction in the covenants that says that you cannot have an accessory building without a structure, your main structure there first. Mr. Baden is right. Since Laura, there's been a lot of ancillary buildings that's been moved in, and you'll see that in the neighborhood that's not conforming with the house structure. All ancillary buildings, the restricted covenant says that all ancillary buildings are to be conforming to maybe the facade, I would say, of your home. And while that's a nice building that you're getting, a very nice building, I doubt that it's not going to conform. So Ms. Ellender is correct in what she's just said about that. So just so you are aware of that.
I think just to clarify for the applicant, what the council, what I interpret you council people to say in general is that while you may approve it tonight, we don't know what the vote's going to be, that he should still be aware of the fact that he's subject to those restrictions. Y'all's ruling tonight does not overrule the restrictions. And while we have the restrictions for him to look at, we're not rendering an opinion on that. We're just giving him an advisory information.
That's right. That's all.
Mr. Dorby, you requested to speak. I need you to fill out.
I'm sorry, I thought you were saying
That's
Chad
okay.
filled
No,
one
I'll
out.
look at Steve. That's cool.
There is a one-year stipulation in here.
It is. That's what I saw that.
May I speak? Okay, cool. Troy Darby, 1107 West Crocker. I'm part of the Land Use Commission, and I want to start by hearing these comments from y'all. Let's start with faith, family, and community. This gentleman went through a tough time. We've helped people throughout this city for years. All he's asking is for an adjustment. That's why there are variances and exceptions. But we as a board have to decide whether we're going to give that. Sometimes the rule says it's not kosher. How many times have we voted the other way? There's projects I'll speak of later on, not tonight. There's plenty. For us not to give this guy an opportunity to move forward with his project, it's under government control, government monies, and if you'll notice the record, we've given him till 2027 of January at our meeting. Plenty enough time for them to finish his project. This man serves our community, has for many years. Please think about your vote tonight, about wanting to appease one or two neighbors that have many of these buildings in this neighborhood. We've talked about these restrictions for 16 years now. I've been involved with this board. Half those aren't worth the paper they're written on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Darby. Council, any comments? Any other questions? Any other questions? Roll call vote.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Yes.
And once again,
Mr. Darby, I hope that you understood, I think our city council made it pretty clear that, our city attorney made it clear that we're just wanting to state the facts. as
I
we-
totally understand.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you,
ma'am.
sir.
For the record, I do understand.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Okay. Okay. All right. Item number 4, public hearing on ordinance dealing with certain surplus movable property of the city of Sulphur and providing for the disposal thereof vehicles. Ordinance 02-26. This is declaring certain surplus movable property not needed for public purpose. The list is included in the ordinance.
So moved.
We have a motion?
second.
We have a second.
We need to amend it.
I'm sorry?
We need to amend the surplus.
You know what she said.
We need to amend the
To make
surplus
the
order.
amendment.
Oh, amended. Sorry. I couldn't, Okay,
Okay, so what do we,
that's gonna go to number 5.
We're adding the Motorola radio for surplus.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That was
okay.
what we're doing. I'm sorry.
I thought that was 10.
Yeah, we added that item.
So that's the amendment that we already
Yeah, but we
voted.
have to declare it surplus first.
Okay.
okay, so we need to make an amendment to add the Motorola mobile radio to the list
To
that
number
is presented here. Okay, so that's my motion.
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Now motion to adopt.
Motion to accept as amended.
Do you have a second?
Second.
A motion, a second. Roll call? Do you want me to vote on that again?
No harm.
I have number 4.
You have one for number
No,
4?
yes, I do. I have several.
That's number 4. We're on number 4.
Ms. Walker?
My name is Valerie Walker. I live at 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Ms. Coulter?
Linda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Thank you. You can adjust the mic when you go up, just so you'll know. Ms. Malone?
Michelle Meller, 2422 Pizza Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. Ms. Broussard?
Sheila Broussard, just a quick administrative question. Just curious why it wasn't, I'm not saying anything was done wrong, just curious to why it wasn't amended before on this item. Why did we wait till we got to the amendment?
We had the motion and second to add item 10A. I'm a little bit confused on that one myself, to be totally honest with you.
Well, it's said on our thing here that they decided they didn't need that piece of equipment, so it could have been at a later notice that they let them know, so it could have been that.
Oh, so it could have been added to 4, we just made a 10A out of it. Okay, thank you for your time. Sir?
I think the clarification is that this is an ordinance adding it to the list to declare it surplus. 10A is for the actual donation, so it's a separate item after it's been declared surplus.
Declaring surplus and then on the other place. Thank you so much, that's very helpful.
Thank Thank you.
You have to declare it surplus before you can.
Got it, makes sense now, thank you.
Roll call vote?
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellen?
Yes.
Item carries. Agenda item 5, public hearing on ordinance amending Chapter 17, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sulphur to provide for Section 39, required setbacks or clearances, ordinance 03-26. Section 39 clarifies restrictions on setbacks and clearances for city right-of-ways and/or easements. This section was accidentally removed from the code when revamping the utility use regulations. It was always part of it, and it was accidentally deleted from. Do you have any, item number 5?
So
I
moved.
need a motion, need a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Ledoux?
James Ledoux, 812 North Claiborne, South Louisiana, 70662. You said it was accidentally removed, you said? What did you say at the end?
Whenever they were amending it, it was just an accident, just a deletion accident.
Yeah, because when I was looking through the ordinances, I didn't see a 1739. I was like, what are we changing? But I guess we're adding it back in there,
Yes,
correct?
adding it back in.
Okay. I guess that's why we had to do the special meeting or something a few meetings ago for the setback on the building that was on Highway 90, correct?
I would guess that's.
Yeah, because we had to approve it for it to go past the setback. All right, cool.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Baden?
Joshua Baden, 630 Alabama. I don't have any questions on this. Thanks.
Ms. Robertson?
Cindy Robertson, 624 West Verdine. When was it removed? And how long, basically, how long was it not in the code so that, and during the time that it was removed, if somebody put something up that is contrary to this, are they going to be grandfathered in?
Some more questions that I have the answers for, Ms. Robertson. Mr. Austin, or administration?
Can you ask the questions again, please?
Okay, basically what I'm trying to figure out is when was it removed? And if somebody built something in the interim that does not fit into this clause, is that going to be grandfathered in, or are they going to have to tear it down?
So this has always been a rule. We still enforced it, even though it wasn't there, because we need to protect our utilities for that purpose. So moving forward, I mean, yeah, we'll be addressed on a case basis.
And, okay, that doesn't answer my question. The period of time that I mean, if I read the ordinances and make a decision to build something on my property and that ordinance is not in there, then am I going to have to tear it down because of an administrative error?
It depends.
Mr. Abrahams, I think all you need to tell her is that nobody violated the ordinance in the meantime. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's your answer.
Thank you.
We all knew it was there, the rule, so we enforced it.
We didn't let anybody violate it.
Okay, great.
The inspectors knew, we knew.
Ms. Mallard?
Michelle Mellard, 2422 Pizza Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
I'm gonna get it right eventually. Thank you. Ms. Coulter?
Glenda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Ms. Walker?
Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Ms. Broussard?
So just to clarify, the accidental removal of an ordinance was done a year ago. Is that correct?
Mr. Austin, can you answer that?
Miss Arlene had already told me that in an email. I just wanted to verify that for the record.
But she did already tell you that.
She already told me that, but again, like I said, I'm up here not just to inform you of things, but to educate the public. And that's not the only ordinance that's now missing. So I did not get an answer on my next question, so that my next question is, ordinance 17-39. And when I looked online, because I wanted to compare what's written here to what was written before, because I thought something had changed. And when I looked up the ordinance, it says reserved, 17-39 to 17-49. So do we have missing ordinances in that section?
Does it have something to do with this agenda item right here?
Well, it has to do with the agenda item being gone for a year. And so I would like to, since we're here discussing ordinances that are missing, yes, we're discussing ordinances that we're missing.
Since you've looked at it, and I appreciate that, but if you could ask that question, I would appreciate it. I would have certainly read up on it again. So if you would have copied.
I'm sorry.
If you would have copied one of us in that email with it.
It was just this afternoon.
Okay,
It was,
so we didn't have time to look at it, but I
No.
certainly will look at it.
well,
Sheila, reserve
Thank you.
means any future ordinances that we adopt, we don't have to create a whole nother section. It can just go in that section.
that certainly makes sense. And that's done throughout our ordinances. We have reserved sections. Thank you so much for educating the public on that. And let me see if I had any other questions. I think everyone had asked about them being grandfathered in. My concern is, I know that, now we know that nothing was built according to that ordinance, but and there's nobody, I have heard people that I know and respect say that they've been told there are certain ordinances, and they go, and there are no ordinances that say that. So, so my concern is we have people saying there are ordinances and they're not in there. I'm very glad to find out that nobody had any problems with this ordinance being missing for a year. Thank you for your time.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
In the event that that happens, let the council know, because we are the legislative body, so if that's something that we can do. Like, we can write ordinances, so if administration is trying to enforce something that is not there, we need to be made aware, because we can't do anything if we don't know.
Thank you. So just to reiterate, because that's an important item, every city council is responsible for writing ordinances, correct? You are the body that does that. So citizens need to know if ever they're told that they can't build something or something has to happen because of an ordinance, and nobody's able to turn an ordinance over, nobody's able to produce an ordinance, they are to call their particular council person first, yes?
That would be my recommendation.
Thank you so much for your time.
Roll call?
Can I do more, my 3 minutes?
She's in charge of the meeting.
Can I? how
You
much-
have 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining if you choose to let me speak.
Yes, ma'am.
It's okay?
2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
Cindy Robertson, 624 West Verdine. I have had difficulties with ordinance interpretation because I have requested what ordinance goes to this specific concern, and I was told it was this ordinance, and there was nothing in that ordinance that actually pertained to the issue at hand. And I was told that that was something that the administration, the Public Works, can interpret. So my question is, what is the interpretive ability of the different facets of the administration that would allow something to be not done, saying it was in the ordinance, but it wasn't in the ordinance? That was very convoluted, but basically, yeah, y'all get what, do
Can you repeat that? No.
So if there is and please correct me, Mr. Lofton, if I'm wrong, we would always defer to him like I'm going to him now.
If I could just answer.
Yes.
What I would recommend that you do in that instance, if you think that a department head or employee of the city is using their discretion on something or interpreting something that you think might be different than the actual substantive black letter law, then I would recommend that you first attempt to either get with me or your council person and let's discuss it and see if it's a misinterpretation by the particular employee, or if it's something that we've decided to interpret a certain way. And if in fact we end up having a disagreement over that, you may have to be forced to hire a legal counsel to represent your position on it versus the administration's position. But I would definitely suggest that you get with me and your city council person in whatever order you think is appropriate, and try to work it out first, because sometimes it may just be a misunderstanding.
Okay, I will do that. I'll see you after the meeting.
Thank you. Roll call vote?
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Item carries. Item number 6, introduction of ordinance entering into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Calcasieu Parish Police Jury for overlaying a portion of Sarah Street, ordinance 04-26. This is an agreement with the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury to overlay approximately 4,029 feet of Sarah Street with the city of Sulphur, responsible for 50% of construction costs, which is $178,479.04. This street is a shared street with the parish and is located by Sulphur Parks on the side, I think of Sulphur Parks, maybe by the golf course side, yeah. Here, a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have several people that would like to address this item. Mr. Ledoux?
James Ledoux, 812 North Claiborne, Sulphur. Hey, one thing I'd like to say is, hopefully the police jury gets the same people that did Kim Street to do Sarah Street. I go down Kim Street twice a month to go to our KC meeting. It's a nice road. One thing that I would like to maybe get with Austin on, and maybe even mention to the parish, there's only 2 speed limit signs on that long road of Kim Street, and there's only 2 speed limit signs on that long road from Sarah Street. When you get to the end of Kim and hang a left on Sarah, the first speed limit sign is a quarter mile up the road. And the only other, that's going eastbound. Coming westbound, when you turn off a P-cord, it's probably about 100 foot in, and that's it. The rest of that road does not have speed limit sign. And I know people use that corridor to be able to cut away from that red light. And we got to know, and one other thing that I noticed is Kim Street's 35 miles an hour and Sarah Street's 25 miles an hour. We might need to look at putting it 25 all the way through, because I know people are using that as a corridor to get away from that red light at P-Cord in Claiborne Street and 90 right there. So it's some things to maybe bring up, Austin, if you don't mind. Some of the things that I thought of, they did put some no parking signs on Kim Street so they wouldn't park close to the ditch or nothing like that. But it's a good job on Kim. Hopefully Sarah turns out just as good. Since we got the new bridge there, hopefully the road will be just as good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Walker?
My name is Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Miller, did I have it wrong? Get closer. Closer.
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pete Say Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you. Ms. Coulter?
Linda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Thank you. Ms. Broussard?
I'm good. I have no comments on this item.
You're Ms. Broussard?
Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Roll call vote?
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Item carries. Item number 7, resolution awarding low bid received for limestone and asphalt, resolution 01-26. Recommendation is to award a low bid for annual supply of 20 tons of 3/4 inch limestone, done in price aggregates, $52 a ton. 1,000 tons road-based limestone, done in price aggregates, $44 a ton. 600 tons hot asphalt mix, RE Height Construction, $98 a ton.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Baden?
Should have put my step counter on. I'm good. Just Joshua Baden, 630 Alabama Street.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Miller?
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pete Say Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Walker?
Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you. Ms. Coulter?
Glenda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Broussard?
Sheila Broussard, I have no comments on item number 7.
Thank you, ma'am. Roll call vote?
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes. Item carries. Item number 8, resolution awarding low bid received for 2025 overlay project. As was recommended, the award of low bid to APEC Construction LLC with a total base bid of $1,238,513.08. Need a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Baden?
Joshua Baden, 630 Alabama Street. I guess my main question on that one is, have we made provision to fix water breaks and water leaks before we decide to do this overlay it and award it? Because on Post Oak Road, they overlaid it, and we have a busted water main that's been there for the past 4.5 years. It's just blowing water into the culverts, into the catch basins, and it hasn't been addressed yet. And they told the owner at My Lander before they overlaid it that they would just come back and cut the road out and make a repair. So before we triple work ourselves and make a saw cut into a fresh paved asphalt road, I'd like to make sure that the city makes provisions to get water lines and breaks fixed before they do an overlayment. Thanks.
Mr. Ledoux?
James Ledoux, 812 North Cleveland. I was just wondering, the overlay project, this is kind of like goes toward this, Austin, this kind of goes toward that scope of them roads that you had put out that whole list out. So if it said 2025 and this would be in that scope, should be. Okay. I still got that list at the house, so. It's what?
Urban Street.
Urban Street? Okay. And that's what I was pretty sure of it, but I just wanted to confirm it. And I still got that list that I had printed out off of the agenda that one time, so I can go back and just look at it and anything. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Walker?
Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Coulter?
Glenda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Ms. Miller?
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pizza Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Broussard?
Sheila Broussard, I have no comments on item number 8. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Roll call vote?
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Yes.
Item carries. Item number 9, resolution awarding low bid received for concrete street rehabilitation, resolution 03-26. Recommended award of low bid to Triumph Construction LLC with a total base bid of $3,339,787.00.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Ledoux?
James Ledoux, 812 North Cleveland, Sulphur. I guess this is the kind of the same question. What street or streets is this this overlay? I mean, this rehab?
For concrete rehab is Navarre and Mulberry.
Which one?
Navarre and
Okay.
Mulberry.
My second to that point is, I seen there was 4 bids on it. Granted, we went with the lowest bid, which is a company out of Baton Rouge. The 2 middle bids, which is roughly $240,000 to $245,000 more, there are 2 tax-paying companies that are operating in this parish. And I'm wondering, why wouldn't we allow them to make money off of us while we're making money off of them?
Mr. Lofton?
We're just complying with the public bid law.
I know, and I understand that, and so forth, but it's just kind of redundant sometimes when something like that happens to our bigger companies here that are trying to just make it. And that's just my opinion.
Totally agree.
Good point.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Miller?
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pizza Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Ms. Walker?
Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Ms. Coulter?
Glenda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield to Ms. Broussard.
Ms. Broussard?
I have no comments on item number 9. Thank you for your time.
Roll call vote, please, Bill.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Item carries. Item number 10, resolution approving liquor license for 2026. And these are the annual renewal of liquor license.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion and a
Second.
Yeah, there's 77 on the list.
There's 77 on here on the resolution. For the sake of time, I'm not going to read all those names, but they're available to you if you want them. Let's see, excuse me, let me go through this one. Ms. Miller?
Michelle Meller, 2422 Pizza Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Ms. Walker?
Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Coulter?
Glenda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Broussard?
Sheila Broussard, I have no comment on this item.
Roll call vote?
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 10A, introduction of ordinance authorizing Mayor Danahay to enter into an act of donation with the Town of Evergreen Police Department for the purpose of donating a Motorola mobile radio, ordinance 05-26. Our police department has no need for the radio. Value is $250.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Did we get a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. May I say there's no request to speak on this item? I didn't have any request. Roll call vote.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Mr. Nazat?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Motion carries. Public comment. Ms. Robertson?
Cindy Robertson, 624 West Verdine. My understanding is that the council can modify the rules that Robert's Rules of Order put into place. Perhaps it would be acceptable for y'all to take a look at people asking to give their time to somebody else, to have them say, I give my time to such and such a person on this, and dispense with calling each one of them up here each time. As long as they're in the room, you know what's going to happen. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ledoux?
I'm good.
Next time come to the podium. Huh? Okay, next time.
I thought I liked it.
I know, but,
Just let the record reflect Mr. Ledoux has no comment.
all right. Mr. DePato?
Danny DePetta, 509A Bonin. I'd like to take it one step further on Ms. Robinson's request. First of all, I'd like to point a clarification on how you do yield your time to someone else and how many people actually are allowed to yield time to you.
Would you like for me to explain it to you?
I'm sorry, say again, Tim.
Would you like for me to explain it to you?
Yes, sir.
We've adopted a rule, it was actually, I think, adopted at the December meeting of 2025, that allows for speakers to give their time, yield their time to another speaker. For instance, if I had a client here or two other people that were interested as their lawyer, I could, typically that was the purpose for the rule. I could come up and have 12 minutes to speak, and it would allow them to have a little more time, and the goal is to allow them to consolidate all of their thoughts and have one person express those. That doesn't seem to be the way that it's being used tonight, but the purpose of it is well intended, and if it's used for the purpose, then it will work really effectively.
And 12 minutes is the limit.
12 minutes is the limit or maximum that you can get collectively. Correct.
And now, can I add on to that? If you're the person that's getting the time yielded to you, and you don't plan on talking, I would preempt the people coming up and giving their names, and you just say, look, I want to come up and say, I don't have anything to say. I think that would speed the meeting along a little bit better, and that's just a point I'd like to make.
I think it'd be a great idea, and I think that the chair will make a lot of changes as people feel their way around the rules.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Baden, Kayla Baden?
Kayla Baden, 630 Alabama Street, and I yield my time to Joshua Baden.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Baden?
Joshua Baden, 630 Alabama Street. I'd first like to address an issue that was actually filed with the City of Sulphur by the Department of Health and Hospitals on October the 28th on a correction that's supposed to be made on a water leak that needed to be addressed. It was presented to y'all's office on October 28th of 2025. They gave y'all 5 days to respond with a corrective measure to be able to fix the problem. Failure to do so results in a $3,000 fine per day in penalties. So we're in January the 12th and it still hasn't been corrected. There's been no active corrections offered to them, and the response that they got was the person that was going to take and address it was out of town, but they would be back shortly and they would get on it right away. Well, there hasn't been anyone there to make those corrective measures, and not only is there a water leak that is pouring and flooding into the catch base, has been there for the past 4 years, there's also one on the opposite side of Post Oak Road, and it is blowing into the ditches as well that I found today, which is a grave concern for water contamination and waste of water. But I want to get back to the other topic that I heard Ms. Thomas actually speak on, and that was as far as if there's ordinances that we put in place or we misinterpret to address you guys. I'd like to bring up a specific one, and that was on my property at 2209 Carr Lane, whenever there were stipulations by the Land Use Committee that was put on me and read into the minutes as ordinances that weren't actually ordinances. So whenever I went to the city council meeting and I brought this up, Ms. Drew Ellender said that she was ready to make a vote on it, even though that I was in argument and disagreement that those were not ordinances. Your city attorney that's representing the city also read the ordinance, and it also stipulated it wasn't an ordinance. And you moved forward with the motion anyway and caused me financial damages to hire a lawyer. So with that being said, I guess I'm kind of in awe that y'all would sit on a board and make these allegations and not research them, and the people that's on the land use not research them, and then y'all are a secondary measure, and then you implement them again after the city council advised you that it wasn't an ordinance. So with that being said, you've caused me legal damages, and that's one of the reasons I decided to run for council, because I feel like y'all misrepresent us. Now let me move to the other issues. I actually did a public records request for all permits and inspections done on the city marshal's building. Not one time did I get any fire marshal build-out submittal that's supposed to be done by the people that's doing the work on the building. That's actually per y'all's request whenever I was doing my property over on Prater Road and at 2209 Carr Lane. There's no fire marshal submittals, build-out submittals, any drawings submitted or anything. So the International Fire Code states that on a municipality building that exceeds 5,000 square feet and it has a large occupancy, that it's required to have a fire suppression system. You're not in compliance with the ordinance. It also states that you're supposed to have a drinking fountain, which I brought that up the last council meeting, and y'all ran and put a drinking fountain and installed it after I brought it. But my question is, how did you ever get and receive occupancy to this building whenever it was in direct violation of every ordinance that you put on the public and stipulate? There's double standards. And I think that we need to start holding y'all accountable for that. The other fact of the matter is that we have a building that Ms. Thorne had sent me some records that I requested that said that the lease agreement was put in place before y'all decided to take and do the build out. The fact that the lease agreement was put in place prior to, and he pulled permits for $55,000, but the lease agreement strictly states in the lease agreement that the tenants are responsible for the cost of any build outs, and then there's no cost. Whenever I did the public records request, there's no cost to the public as to what he spent. And y'all say that he did that. But also on the record, if I go back and review the minutes from the meeting, it also says, because Ms. Thorne addressed me while I was sitting down, and she said that it was not figured into the rent. Because I asked, so was it figured into the rent? How did we come up with the cost of this building, of the rent? Was there a market analysis done to come up with a $20,000 a month cost for rent to justify back charging the federal government to get reimbursement? It still needs to be a fair analysis done. So what I get from her is that she has done some computer look, and I'm not trying to call you out, Ms. Thorne, but the documents doesn't reflect numbers to compare pricing. It doesn't reflect that. It reflects that you've had conversations with different people and said, oh, well, it's too much to get the other ones, but there's no numbers to calculate to verify the documents that you sent me to back it up to substantiate it. And the fact that we're paying $20-something thousand, that's still our tax dollars, even if it's on a refundable reimbursement grant from the federal government. That's part of it. And to take it a little bit further, $20,000 over a 2-year agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Bynum.
Sure.
Ms. Ruxton?
It's fine. Very close. Tiffany Ruxtell, 1710 West Common Street, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70601, and I yield my time to Mr. Baden. Thank you.
So,
Yes.
Straight?
Yes, you have to fill out a card to speak.
Yeah, it's too late for you to follow.
You can fill out a card.
all right, so on a continuation on that, we did a $325,000 improvement that's not covered under the federal reimbursement grant to private property. And not one time was it ever put up for public bid. $325,000 parking lot improvement to a private investor's parking lot, that he gets to keep the improvements with no reimbursements to the city or anything of that nature. And then the fact that we make a improvement, the same guy that did the improvement owns the property. It seems kind of odd to me that we award a contractor that owns the building, owns the contracting company, a $325,000 contract and a $20,853 a month rent for 2 years, which is probably going to exceed that, and never be put up for public bid. I mean, I guess I'm just kind of trying to understand it all. And I would like, I guess, for somebody to answer to me, if we're in a situation to where we're talking about transparency and y'all are alleging that y'all are doing every single thing within the book and you didn't do anything wrong, then I'm going to ask for one of you to be transparent enough to ask for an investigative legislative audit tonight to be called on all of y'all. I think that would be fair, and I think the public deserves that y'all have one done. And I would like to participate in making the damn questions and the things I'd like for them to look at. Is that it? Can I get, like, would y'all be willing to do that?
Does he have any more time left?
He has a minute, 5 seconds.
Okay, so my next 5 seconds is going to be this. Ms. Joy, you're a council lady here, and you've been here for a while representing our city, and you're in my district. I'd like to meet with you one day this week to go look at these water leaks and the problems, because it doesn't matter whether I get in office, if I run against you, you're in there now, and I would, right, but what I'm saying.
This is not for you to speak of your campaign.
I'm speaking on campaign. I'm saying it doesn't matter who comes in behind you or if you're there now. I would like to participate in working with you to try to help figure out where the problems are. I've made calls to y'all, and I don't know what seems to be the problem, but I'm not trying to hinder you. I'm trying to point the problems out and address it where the problems are at. I'm out in the public every single day, and it's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed. But the fact, Ms. Abshire, that your business is outside the city limits, and I think there's contiguous lines that run that you need to be annexed in.
Sir, your time's up. Thank you. Is it Mr. Barry Bell?
Barry Baton, 200 Beauregard Avenue, Sulphur. I yield 3 more minutes to Mr. Baden.
Okay.
Ms. Abshire, our purpose is to build the city and bring more business in. And I think you have a desirable business that's outside the city limits that'd be an asset to our community. And the fact that you're serving on city council and there's contiguous points that would allow you to be annexed in, I don't see why you wouldn't step forward and agreeing to annex your own business in, being that you're on the council representing the public. And that's all I gotta say. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Miller?
Michelle Miller, 2422 Pizza Road, and I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Coulter?
Glenda Coulter, 109 South Hazel Street. I yield my time to Sheila Broussard.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Walker?
Valerie Walker, 2161 Leonard Road, and I yield my time to Ms. Broussard.
Thank you. Ms. Broussard?
Okay, I will be using all or most of my 12 minutes at this point because I have something that I've put off discussing for a long time. I sent a letter to, I reported this council to the AG. In case I didn't say my name, Sheila Broussard. I reported this council to the AG back in June, after the June meeting, because the chair did not recognize an individual who requested to speak and who clearly in the audio you can hear her. I sent the reel of that meeting to the AG. During the last meeting, the council chair stated that the Attorney General letter sounded complimentary, and the attorney found it, said the Attorney General's letter found the council to be compliant. Nowhere in the letter does it state compliant, but I understand that a lawyer does interpret things for his client. I said in a meeting prior to that one, because I've been discussing it on and off, that the city council's actions, according to the letter, caused lack of transparency, and that the letter says the actions of the council undermine transparency. I'm sorry, the letter did say undermines transparency. The chairperson, the councilperson from District 1 said that she did not understand the letter to be saying lack of transparency, but this letter, quote, states undermines transparency. I can't see how those two items are different. The letter also said, I also said the letter said the council's actions caused confusion. The letter specifically said invites confusion. Again, I don't understand how the council member from District 1 could interpret that any different than that. The incident of the chair, and I'm going to have to read some of this so I don't miss anything. The incident of the chair not recognizing Wendy Wingate at the meeting in June of 2025, the letter from the AG said she can be heard, quote, be heard requesting to speak, unquote. I didn't speak at length about this before, because for the first couple of months after, you all got the letter from the AG when I did, I suspect, on the 16th of July. I assumed that the attorney was working with the council to figure out how to apologize for making that error. And so I didn't press that. But nobody did speak up in August. Nobody did speak up in September. So I began to ask questions and had gotten some of these things that I just discussed from you. So I think it's important to, according to the AG, quote, when agenda item number 2 was called for discussion, the council solicited public comment, and an individual can be heard requesting to speak. That request was not acknowledged by the chair, and the council proceeded to take action on the item. From the transcription, the chair said, for year ending June 30th, 2026, ordinance 5425, she called for a motion, called for a second, and then in 17 seconds into the video clip, the reel that I sent to the AG, the chair says, any objections? You can hear Wendy Wingate say, I mean, and you can hear the chair say, any requests to speak? Then you can hear Wendy Wingate say, I actually would like to speak. And you can see 2 council people in the reel look at Ms. Wingate while this conversation's going on. At that point, 23 seconds into the video, she is looked at by 2 other members of the council. The chair then holds up her hand in a stopping motion in Ms. Wingate's direction, and talking over Ms. Wingate says, hearing none. That was her sound, not mine. Ms. Wingate said, it's about, and at that point, at that point, the chair said, hearing none, Ms. Ballinger, roll call. The 2 city council people looked at Ms. Wingate for 5 seconds while this was going. It wasn't a long interaction. What I just read to you was 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 seconds. That's plenty of time for someone to, you don't even have to jump up and say, Point of order, Madam Chair, someone speaking, two of you on either side of the chair could have helped just by saying, leaning over, even whispering to her, someone's trying to speak. Nobody on the council did anything. All members that were present, and that was everyone except for Mandy Thomas, I think are liable for what took place. You all are responsible for Robert's Rules of Order and the Constitution being followed in these meetings. You were all responsible. I think each and every one of you needs to take a moment publicly, since this happened publicly. Ms. Wingate is not here, but she's certainly watching this live, I would assume. You should apologize to her for the error. It wasn't a huge thing, but it is an important thing that citizens know that they can be heard. Because in the writing of how these meetings are to be done, it says, because you sent it to the AG, it says that a card has to be filled out. Well, she didn't fill out a card for that particular item. She didn't have item number 2 on the card. So that was the only reason you weren't held responsible by the AG. But you did call out for responses, and she spoke up and she was ignored. So now it doesn't say in there that you will ask the audience if they want to come up. So if you ignore us, we don't have a leg to stand on because it's not in the writing. If we're going to clarify how these meetings are conducted, it needs to include in there that the chair will ask for responses from the audience. If that's the case, then it needs to be included in the writing of how this is done. So in summary, the letter from the AG was not complimentary to the council, and there is a problem with transparency and confusion in the meetings, according to the AG. I believe the chair should apologize for her error, and I believe all members of the council who were present that evening should apologize to the public. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Broussard. That ends public comments. Anyone from administration? Council? Meeting adjourned. Thank you for attending.
Now remind me to get mine. I'll tell you, I bet you did. Is it well insulated? No, it's about that. I got the pick on it. There you go. Good thing you did get it right before. And you know, January is winter month. We don't know what to expect. I heard there's something coming down, but I don't know. January, February, that's the two. After that is summer. I know, believe me, that's like, for Christmas I want sweaters for my guys to wear, like, we have t-shirts and shorts on. Turn AC on and right? I'm like, make it feel like Christmas. Shucks. Put the animated fireplace up. Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to reach over you.
That's okay. Thank you. Take care. Have a good
Darlene.
one.
Yes, ma'am.
It's past my bedtime. Hey, strange man.